I'm going to start by sharing my screen for a minute, if I can figure that out. Let me know if you can see my slide.
Yep.
Yes.
So who in this room is feeling stressed, anxious, tense, worried, or in chronic pain? Anybody?
Yes, me.
Yeah. We all have stress and anxiety at different levels in our life, and we're going to talk about some strategies for eliminating some of that. Holiday stress especially, and on top of that, we've got this COVID stress that's, bothering all of us. But how your body reacts to stress, how we deal with it, our nervous system does not deal well with it. Our bones, our muscles tense up, and it might trigger headaches in our skeletal system. Our breathing. When we're stressed and tense, we're just not breathing right. And when we're not breathing right, we're not thinking right, because our oxygen levels are down and our brain is not getting all of the oxygen it needs to function well. Our heart, our cardiovascular system needs more oxygen. There's a thing, if you will, called heart-brain congruence. All cardiologists know about it. It's the fact that the heart and brain work closely together, and they can sense when either one of them's out of whack. So lowering stress helps with that. And we have GI problems as well, and our hormonal system releases cortisol and other chemicals in our blood that just don't help. Okay, creates more sugar that we don't need in our body, and it'd be better if we could be like this at Christmas, right? Just relaxed. Nobody cares, right? Put yourself in that state right now if you can. I'm gonna just talk about stress a little bit more. Tension that's felt when we face new or unpleasant situations, or threatening things, or change. We don't have to restate all the change and revisit all the change we're dealing with right now in our life. Most of it unwelcomed and out of our control. And that causes more stress and anxiety. The good news is this last point. Stress is an emotion that we can control. And when we decide to control it through relaxation, well, the benefits start to become obvious, right? The idea of taking charge of your thoughts by changing your mind, you change the physiology of your brain. Have you heard the phrase neuroplasticity? The idea that with our thoughts, we can rewire our brain. We can get neurons to wire together and fire together and put new programs in place, literally, in our brain. And we can strengthen those neural connections when we change a habit, when we change a thought, and we relax. We can actually strengthen the health of the cells in our body. Some of the things we're going to talk about: relaxing our eyes, breathing, of course. I'm going to touch on self-hypnosis. My goal for you is, in this hour together, because I'm sure you're going to want to go back and rewatch it. You should. You're going to learn some techniques to easily take back control. And taking back control is the whole goal. We're going to talk about a quick body scan. Emile Coué, someone I mentioned last night. We'll talk about tapping. I don't know if you've heard of emotional freedom technique, but if we have time, we'll do a little tapping exercise. And how you use, we're going to skip the raisin test tonight, but how you use the last 5 minutes of your day. Okay? We're going to stop sharing and just talk. Does anyone have anything specific they want me to cover here tonight? Because I want to make sure you get out of the time together what you need. Anything in particular?
Probably more going over, like if you
Definitely
wake up in the middle of the night, those techniques to help put you back to sleep.
Okay, I'll review that. Let me make a note about it.
You already mentioned the thing that I was going to bring up, which is the whole, COVID stress, because everybody, it's basically a planetary clinical depression that people are dealing with.
I agree. And what I've been talking to folks about and having to practice myself, the notion of meeting people where they are. And we have things imposed on us that we have to deal with, but just in a social environment, there are some people who are mask police, and there are some people who are anti-mask, and not everyone is taking it as seriously as others, and some people are politicizing it. But whatever we're dealing with, this COVID is creating change and adjustments in all of us, whether we like it or not. Whether it's permanent or not, we don't know, but the world is changing and the business models are changing. And it's having a terrible effect on people. We know that. The isolation is not good, especially here at the holidays, but in general, it's not good. So having empathy and compassion and meeting people where they are is probably the most important thing to help them, help yourself, and eliminate stress. I've been seeing a lot of people who are struggling with having to wear a mask. I've seen a lot of people who are not families, I don't do family work, but people in a family who are dealing with the stress of traditions being upended and not being able to spend holidays together, or not being able to access a loved one. I just got news yesterday that I'm going to be a grandfather again. And as soon as my son told me that, the next thing he said was, "That's the good news. The bad news is we're not coming to Christmas."
Right.
Yeah.
Right? And I said, I didn't like it, but I had to accept it. I said, I get it. I understand. And I decided to look at it differently and just say, hey, you know what? You're being a good father, husband, and doing the right thing. So that's okay. We'll have Christmas in April.
Right.
So that's probably what it saves me. I don't have to do my shopping till March. So Michael will come back at the end if we need to address anything else on COVID to see if the strategies we talk about actually help deal with that. And speaking of dealing with things, I hope you can deal with my stressed voice from talking all day. I've been doing Zoom sessions around the country with different clients. That's the nice thing about this technology.
You have to unmute.
How'd that happen?
I don't know.
Yeah. Stress comes from all kinds of places, right? We don't need to belabor it, but it could be financial stress. It could be work related. It could be relationship related. It could be COVID related. It could be just habitual worry. What I find in working with all these clients that I've been working with over the past 13 years is people struggle to live in the present moment. People are either living in the past with all kinds of emotions that might keep them up at night, but they're living in the past and it's keeping them stuck from moving forward. Or they might be living in the future, keeping them stuck from living in the present. Someone that worries a lot, and I'm not going to ask you where you fit in any of this, but just think about how you live your daily life. Sometimes people have regrets or they cannot forgive. I don't like the word can't or try or hope. They're good in the beginning, but you either can or you won't, right? Sometimes forgiveness is a wonderful tool. It cleans the slate. And it's not about forgiving the other person. It's about, it may be about forgiving yourself, but it's therapeutic to yourself. So forgiveness can be a great tool for people who are living in something that happened. I had a client that 25 years ago, she had a fight with her sister over, they lived next door to each other. They had a fight at a birthday party for one of the kids, and they've hardly spoken since. And that was 1987. And it was nothing. Sometimes we hold grudges. Sometimes we regret not doing something or doing something. I have a client who, I'm 65, he's in his mid-60s too. He regrets not going into the service and serving our country. Because he's not a veteran and he doesn't like it. Because he wishes it, not for recognition, but he wishes he had made a different choice back then. And I've helped him shift that perspective using hypnosis as a tool to find other ways to serve his country now. Just saying, hey, it's not too late. You might not get veteran status, but that's okay. If that's what it's about, then it's really a phony ideal. But if it's about truly helping, here are some ways you can do it. So we can look at the past and we can learn from it. But when we live in it, that's when we start having all kinds of emotional issues, and that affects our thinking and our lack of clarity and decisions. And sometimes we forget to be grateful for what we have. And when we're not practicing gratitude, that can keep us awake, because we're striving for something that we're just lost. We don't even understand who we are as people. And when you can do a little bit of a reset and get into the present moment and be grateful for today, be grateful for breathing, having a roof over your head, something to eat, and a few dollars, then you can go from there. And how does this affect, stress reduction and sleep? It's all interrelated. So it's about choices. And people who worry, we say worry is that wasted emotion. People who are always worried about, well, what ifs? And sometimes it's a convenient tool to keep them from doing anything, taking any steps. Sometimes people are afraid and they just lack the courage to step forward. I wrote a book called The Magic of Aesop, using Aesop's fables to help you gain courage and telling stories, and helping others by telling stories to just help someone move forward, taking small steps and feeling safe. So people who live in the future and worry are missing out on the day they're living. So if you're today a worrier about what's going to happen in, I don't know, tomorrow or a week or a month or years from tomorrow, you're not enjoying today fully. You're not present with the world or the people around you, and you're not enjoying that abundance and prosperity that I think God wants us to have. So when you can shift to live in the today, life gets better. So with that said, I want to get to, unless there's any comments or questions, I want to get right to the relaxation exercises, all right?
Yes.
That's kind of foundational. And there's one more step. It's a big part of it. I give my clients, no matter what reason they're in to see me, this exercise. You can try it after this session if you want. You go into the bathroom mirror and you look at yourself, you look at your reflection, look in your eyes and say these 3 words out loud. I love you. Some people struggle with that one. And it's not a narcissistic thing. It's about being authentic and connecting with you, connecting with your inner self. This is all about an inward journey. And when you can say those 3 words, I love you, what happens is they go right in from your eyes into your brain, right? Your ears hear it, you're saying it, and it ends up right in your heart because it starts to drive everything you do. I've helped people stop drinking alcohol by using that exercise. Because if you're being true to yourself and you love yourself, you're gonna drink less of it. You're not gonna let it grab you by the ankles and pull you into a bottle, you know? So our thoughts, behaviors, patterns all get examined when you can be honest with yourself and say, I love you. And when you're being honest with yourself and can say that, the quality of life during the day is better, and therefore you sleep better, right? It's like someone who lies all the time has to remember the lies. Someone who lives honestly and truthfully can go to sleep with a clear conscience and go right to sleep and wake up in the morning. So relaxing. I had a client, Martha. Martha came in and we did some pre-work, and I said, all right, Martha, let's get started. I'd like you to take a nice deep breath and just begin to relax. She opened her eyes and sat up in my chair, and she said, relaxing is such a waste of time. So I had to think on my feet. Excuse me 1 second. I had to think on my feet, and I said, Martha, what if I could show you that relaxing was a strategy to help you get where you're trying to go in the work we're doing together? And she looked at me, she said, okay. And I took her through a relaxation process. We did some hypnosis work. And when we're all done, she started crying. And she said, I wished I learned how to relax 50 years ago. I would have lived a different life. And it really shook me too, because I realized that relaxation is a choice. And when you choose not to, you're really not giving your mind and body a chance to work together. And you're not going to be as healthy as you could be. You're not going to think as clearly as you could be. And relaxing isn't sitting down in front of the TV with a clicker in your hand. Deliberate relaxing is really a mind-body experience, and it doesn't have to be anything, far out. This is all, feet on the ground kind of techniques. It's not woo-woo stuff. But when you can relax, your brain gets more oxygen, your cells get more oxygen, and your immune system improves. There's a book I mentioned last night, I believe, The Relaxation Response. Dr. Herbert Benson wrote the book and created the concept, and he uses relaxation to help cancer patients heal at the Benson Institute at Mass General Hospital. And so we're going to take you through that relaxation response in a minute. It's easy to apply, and it's not just for healing cancer patients, it's for all of us. It's the opposite of that stress response. Okay? So one of my goals is to share that with you. We'll do that in a minute. First, we're going to do an exercise, real easy one. I'd like you to, we're all kind of close up, but stretch your arms out from your shoulders and point your thumbs towards the ceiling. Find something to fixate. I guess looking at my camera, one of those bricks in my virtual image, and just stay focused on whatever image whatever edge there that you look at. And with your arms out, wiggle your fingers. We're going to try to find that peripheral boundary. So as you're looking straight ahead, you can still see your fingers wiggling. So you're finding that range. And when you think you've found it, just keep your arms up, stop wiggling your fingers, and let your hands just kind of relax, hanging off the end of your wrists. Take a comforting breath and allow your eyes to close for just a second. You'll like this, what we're going to do. Pretty easy so far. I'd like you to just be aware, as you're holding your arms up, of the muscle tension you're beginning to experience. Nothing too heavy, but you know, your arms are being held up by muscles that are working while the rest of your muscles in your body are relaxed. So it's kind of pronounced. And 3, 2, 1, just relax your arms into your lap, let them rest, and open your eyes. And I want to bring your attention to the tension leaving your arms. Feel the muscles that were just tense a moment ago, feel them relaxed. Pretty good. I'd like you to squeeze your fists like this and relax them. Squeeze them and relax them. Now I want you to curl your toes while you're doing it this time. Squeeze your fists and curl your toes, maybe tense your legs and relax. Tense and relax. You can put your hands down. That's a very quick, active, passive muscle relaxation exercise. When you do that and you focus on the tension relieving, you know, you combine this thing that I do with what I just taught you with this, and you have to do it a few times, but you begin to focus on it and your mind begins to clear because you're not thinking about anything else, because you can't. And you're aware of how good it feels to let that tension just dissolve. Pretty easy, isn't it? So far? And you'll be able to go back and watch this video and combine any group of things you want to do. But the point I want to make is when you decide that it's time for you to relax, you can. And it's a practice. It's something you're going to become addicted to, and that's a good thing. You know, when it's time to go to sleep, whenever you go to sleep, a half hour before, you get into that mindset of relaxing. Even having a cup of green tea and one little cookie or something. Think about a Japanese tea ceremony, so relaxing. You know, when they sit down to have their tea, or anyone that enjoys tea that way, they're being mindful and they're just relaxing. You don't have to have the tea. You can just put yourself in that mindset, right? I'd like you to put your hands together like this and raise your index fingers and look at the gap in between. Don't look at me through the camera, but look at your own fingers. Now, you're all smart people. I know you know their fingers, but I'd like you to use your imagination with me right now and pretend for a minute that they're magnets of opposite polarity. And what do magnets do of opposite polarity? They slowly begin to attract each other. So let them just begin to come closer. And when they touch, they'll touch at different times for each of you. When they touch, just allow your hands to drop into your, uncouple them and let them just drop into your lap. Okay? And between that and the things I've been doing up until this point, I'm guessing you're feeling pretty good. That's called magnetic fingers. And you can teach that to kids. You know what? When I played with kids, they'll go, oh yeah, I know, we know what to do. It's funny. Kids are very hypnotizable. My oldest granddaughter is 6, and my oldest grandson is 7. And I'm teaching them how to deal with their anxiety. And kids have a lot of anxiety these days. Anyone here a teacher? Okay, Dorothy. You can teach what you're learning tonight to your kids or people in the family. Another technique. Let's say you don't have a lot of time to relax. Let's paint a scenario. You're being called into a meeting that you don't know why you're being called into, or maybe you know, maybe you've got a presentation to go give, but you don't have a lot of time. Or if it's a conversation you're not looking forward to with somebody, or any scenario where you just need to relax. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Last night we taught anchoring. I'll come back to it if we have time. If not, you see it on the tape. Take a deep breath and go like this, and just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And say to yourself, relax. Seems too easy, doesn't it? But when you do that, see, we're all, when it's driven by intention, my favorite word, your subconscious mind, your mind and body are all working together. They know what you're trying to accomplish, and they help. So it's a great example of mind and body working together. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Relax. If you don't have a lot of time, you can do that. Excuse me 1 second.
I didn't realize you were in the webinar.
So we talked about the anchor. We now want to talk about Dr. Benson's strategy, okay? Modern science has shown us, it's proven, this is evidence-based work. Relaxation is strategic to our health. Just try to accept that. You can do your own research. You can go to Google Scholar and type, you could type hypnotic relaxation, and all kinds of scholarly articles will come up. We just don't have time to do that today. So we want to use that capacity of our mind to keep us relaxed. So that, and I'm not talking about putting on an orange robe and going into the forest for 30 years to meditate. And I'm not making fun. I'm just saying that's not necessary. Sometimes people think, you know, this kind of work is, they just don't have time for it. You don't have time not to do it. And I'm only talking 10 minutes a day. All right. What we're going to do now is the relaxation response. Imagine the tiger at the door. We can fight or flight or freeze. That's the stress response. That's built into our DNA. That's a survival reaction. Well, the exact opposite of that is the relaxation response that we can invoke anytime we want to. So we can tap into this vast resource within us. Think of yourself as this human being with a vast resource of knowledge and wisdom and resources that you can access when you know how to access them. They're there. Our subconscious mind does many things automatically for us, right? When you learn how to ride a bicycle, you were accessing those resources to get your mind and body to work together to, in your central nervous system to ride a bike and integrate with that machine called a bicycle. Because after this meeting, you want to go for a bike ride, you hop on the bike and go. Why? How? Because it's stored up here. Our cells remember how to ride a bicycle, right? So the key is with the relaxation response is deciding that you can break the train of your thinking. Last night I talked about thought stopping and being able to control the thoughts. And we can't act on every thought that comes into our mind. One would either be in jail or two, right? We'd just be going crazy trying to do all of these things. There's many thoughts we let just go by. So the intention of stimulating that relaxation response by breaking the thoughts. And I'm going to take you through the exercise. A key to this is repetition. So a few minutes a day is all that's needed. We're so busy, we get up and we run and we rush to work. But on the other end of that, when we go to bed, if you go to bed 30 minutes earlier and plan 15 minutes extra in the morning and make that time, you're starting your day from a completely different vantage point. And you become unstoppable. The road ragers don't bother you because you respond differently. The things that bother you just don't. Okay? And you learn to train your brain to just be calm and relaxed and in control of your emotions. Sometimes when we get stressed and anxious or just other things, we're abdicating. We're giving that control to the world, to people. We're letting emotional triggers send us into orbit for something that is crazy. You know, we can take back that control. So how do you do this? Well, you could find first step one is to breathe. The best way to start the relaxation response is to consciously breathe in a relaxed way. Not hard to do. We don't have to get fancy. If you went to Google and said how to breathe, you'd come up with thousands of websites that teach you how to breathe. Not necessary. You can breathe to relax. You can breathe to get energy. There's a Qigong breathing exercise that is intense, that's designed to supercharge your blood with more oxygen. You're ready to go, like you're going to run a race. That's not what we're doing here. Just take a nice deep breath in through your nose, the best breath you can take. Use your full lung capacity and exhale. Nothing extreme or fancy, just a nice deep breath. Count from 5 down to 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like I just showed you. And for this kind of work, you can choose a word such as peace, or peaceful, or tranquility, or serenity, or calm. You can choose a word like that, or you can choose a prayer word for people who are spiritual. You don't have to use a spiritual word, but you find a word that you like, that just kind of associates with this feeling of relaxation. So get comfortable position, and if you would, I'd like you to just close your eyes, because we're going to do this exercise, all right? It's a quick way to just trigger that relaxation response. I'd like you to just kind of all at once relax all the muscles in your body, being comfortable in the chair that you're sitting in, and kind of roll your neck a little bit. And just decide at 3, 2, 1, you're going to relax all the muscles that you can while you're in that position. And continue to breathe slowly, aware of your relaxed, intentional breathing, and repeating the word you've chosen, or if it's a short prayer, you know, Catholics might say, Hail Mary, full of grace, or you might use the word tranquil, peaceful, or someone might say shalom, or they might have a short chant that they use. We're not going into that direction with any of these things, but you choose a word that relates to you. And I like the word peace, because isn't that what we all want in our lives? And you take a few minutes aware of your thoughts as you're doing this. The deeper you're relaxed, the more aware you become of random thoughts that pop up, and they are random. Who knows where they come from? But here's the trick. Let the thoughts go by saying, oh, well. So you're sitting there relaxed, you're saying the word peace, just as my example, but whatever word works for you. And as you're sitting there with yourself for just 5 minutes, you can set a timer if you'd like on your phone or your watch. And at the end, when the timer goes off, you're done. Or you can just do it as long as you feel is necessary. Repeating the word as you breathe and relax. So you're intentionally taking control of the rhythm of your body and your muscles relaxing, oxygen flowing throughout your whole body. When a thought pops up, you can say, oh, well. One of my clients said, I modified it for my use, and she told me that she imagined thought bubbles coming up like inside a soap bubble, and she would just pop them and stay relaxed. And those that she couldn't pop would just float away. Whatever works in your mind is what matters. Let the thoughts go by, breathe, say, oh, well, and ignore them, and just return to the focus. And you begin, if you had any discomfort when we started this, you might begin to be aware that that comfort level is increasing as the discomfort has dissolved or faded. I use this exercise when I begin chronic pain work with my clients. I'm just going to sit here quietly, which is hard for me to do, for the next 30 seconds as you just practice this with your eyes closed, breathing, letting thoughts go by, repeating your word. Because the key to this is repetition and disregarding other thoughts. That's right. And now as you take another nice deep breath, I'm going to have you open your eyes when you're ready, and we'll continue. That is the relaxation response in its simplest form. And we don't have to make it any more difficult than that. We could add to it if we were doing something specific. But how do you feel? And by the way, anybody want to share how they feel? Or just thumbs up? Or
I feel great.
I feel very relaxed too.
I feel relaxed. Yep.
good.
And again, I'm just coming on to an hour of shoveling, so
Yeah.
this is like, make sure I don't fall asleep on you.
No, I'm not worried about it. I won't let you fall asleep. By the way, everyone is in a comfortable chair. I mean, I'm not going to be deeply hypnotizing you. I don't want anyone to fall on the floor. So those are some relaxation exercises. The point I want to make before moving on is, one, are there any questions? My desire, my goal for you is that you'll take this on as a practice and you'll make relaxation part of your life. It's about living hypnotically. When you can relax, you can see things more clearly. And by the way, sports teams use this. Military uses it. Every branch of the military, including special forces. My son, who's no longer, but was well, he's not no longer, he's still with us. He's no longer a SWAT officer, but his SWAT team used this technique. I taught it to my son and he shared it with his guys. Because those guys all have to be focused, and you can be alert and awake and relaxed. Relaxing isn't this lethargic state. You can relax in an awakened state and perform well. I work with golfers all the time and I trick them. I'll say, and they pay me lots of money to take 2 points off their game. I'll say, do you relax to play golf? And they say, yes. I said, well, you're here to play better golf. Is that right? Yes. I said, have you ever considered relaxing so that you can play better golf instead of playing golf to relax? Because muscle tension is the enemy of a golfer. It's the enemy of any athlete. It's the enemy of a marksman or a sniper. It's the enemy of a tennis player or an artist. It's the enemy of, that muscle tension just prevents you from doing what you're trying to do up here with your body. So you can relax that quick after practicing it. I've been doing this for 13 years. I was never this relaxed before, trust me. So it is a way of life. Let's talk about anxiety. Who has anxiety? Anybody here in the room?
I do.
Okay. You don't have to tell me what it's about. But anxiety is usually worried about something that's not going to happen. You can have anxiety about something that is going to happen, but you can still relax. Let's say you get an unexpected summons at the door to appear in court for something. You have no idea what it's about. Well, that would create anxiety in me, in any of us. I'm just using that as an extreme example. Or anxiety in a fearful situation where you're in physical harm or risk. You can still choose to take back control and breathe, because it creates a stress response, and then all of a sudden you're in it. You can pause, say, okay, I know how to relax because I practiced it and I'm good at it. And I know how to relax my body. This is about getting to know yourself, your mind, and your body. I'm working with a client now, and just using what we've talked about with a couple little extra things, I've helped her solve her problem. And her problem was this. She was so tense about everything. She's a owner of a small regional insurance agency. She's got a mother she's caring for. She's got other things in her life, and she's always tense. She's not a good relaxer, but she is now. The problem she was having, and the reason she came to me, is no doctor could help her. She was so tense, it was causing her bladder to feel the tension, and she was peeing her pants all the time. It wasn't fun because of this tension. And she tried everything, and we got her to relax. I did a couple of recordings customized for her. And now she's a different person. She's able to relax her muscles. She's able to respond differently to the triggers that were causing the tension. So she's taking things in stride. She's just a different person altogether. And the problem went away. So that's to me, it's a great example of mind and body working together. Okay? So anxiety. First thing we're going to do is an exercise. And did we do it last night? Did we do the anti-anxiety hug?
No.
No. All right. I want you to promise me that you'll teach this to somebody soon, okay? Somebody in your life. This is so easy, and we can take it to another level, but I'm just going to teach you the basics tonight. It's already 10 minutes of 6. Do people are in a hurry to leave at 6, or can we have a few minutes extra? All right. So put your arms up like this on your shoulder. Take a deep breath and just kind of put your head down. And I want you to be aware of the touch from your hands on your shoulders. Because what you're doing is you're giving yourself a hug. And hugs release oxytocin into our body. So just kind of, for 5 more seconds, be aware of that. And now, as you take another nice deep breath, I want you to slowly but firmly slide your hands down your upper arms down to your elbows. Slowly. And then slowly go all the way to your wrists. And then you can drop your arms by your side and open your eyes. That is called the anti-anxiety hug. You could do it longer. You could do it more often. Why do kids have teddy bears? When they hug their teddy bear, they're releasing oxytocin in themselves. Why do little babies who get hugs respond better than poor little babies that don't get hugs? For the same reason. You know, as humans, we need hugs. And this COVID nonsense and chaos has got us, you know, missing out on that. So if you can teach friends and family, think about people who are isolated, or just somebody that needs a hug and they're not getting one. My lovely Irish mother, who has since gone on, and I think she's with me still, but I hope she's not listening. She would never give a hug to anybody, and she couldn't take a hug. You know, if you went to give her a hug, it's like hugging a fish. And not a live fish either. But that's just Irish grandmothers and mothers, I guess. But and she never once in her whole life told me that she loved me until she was dying. And it didn't bother me. I mean, I survived, but it was just nice to know when she was dying of cancer and we were using these techniques to help her relax and take her mind off what was happening. She had a wonderful last 9 months of her life by shifting her focus to other things that we helped her with. It was just beautiful. But giving yourself an anti-anxiety hug is a good thing to do. Combine that with that relaxation response, right? And you just go, right? And that's it. Now, if you want to expand on it, let's say you wake up in the middle of the night and you really can't go back to sleep, and the technique I'm teaching you haven't mastered yet. You go downstairs, sit in the dark in a comfortable chair, and do this anti-anxiety hug after you've done the relaxation response. And then just sit there with your palms up and your arms open. It's like you're just connecting with the universe. There's an exercise in Tai Chi. I'm a student of Tai Chi as well. Hopefully getting certified when this COVID stuff goes away. I was in the middle of it before. But there's an exercise standing between earth and sky. And it's just about standing there, connecting your energy with the earth and with the sky. And when I was first learning it, I'm saying, this is silly. But you know what? It was so therapeutic. So you could look up when we're done, Tai Chi, Earth and Sky, and it'll come up, right? Dr. Nan Lu, L-U. It's a nice little exercise. It pops right up on YouTube. So that's the anti-anxiety hug. I want to take you through a couple of exercises for anxiety. So let's say you have something bothering you, this anxiety. You've done that hug and that might help, which it should. And maybe you've combined it with the relaxation anchor. And you're breathing and it feels good, but you still got some anxiety you want to get rid of. You might not even know where the anxiety is coming from. You're just feeling anxious. We can do work to get to the bottom of it, but sometimes we don't need to. What I'll tell my clients, I had one client come in and I said to him, look, your subconscious mind knows where the anxiety is coming from. You might not see it now. My job is to help you communicate so that you can connect with that. But for now, let's just treat the anxiety this way. And when I say treat, I don't mean, you know, medically treat or mental health diagnoses. But when someone's feeling those anxious feelings, we can control them. We can take it back without medication. And one of the first steps in dealing with anxiety is to give it a name. The woman I was telling you about with the tension and it was causing her bladder to feel that tension, that muscle tension. She gave the anxiety a name, and I said, choose a name that means nothing. You know, not an old boyfriend or ex-husband or son or anybody in your life, just a random name. So she came up with Larry. And I said, okay, I want you to take a deep breath and just be aware of when the anxiety comes up. So pretend that the anxiety is present right now. And what I want you to do is put your arms out at arm's length, because this is what? The universal stop sign. When someone goes like that, that means enough, stopped, right? So I had her go, Larry, I don't have time for you right now. So put your arms out and imagine you're talking to Larry or whoever you come up with, and just say, I don't have time for you right now, Larry. Come back another day. Can't you see I'm busy? And it goes away. And then Larry comes back. Larry, didn't I tell you, go away, I don't have time for you? Try tomorrow. Come back tomorrow, maybe. And so Larry starts to get the message. Naming the anxiety is a key. It's a well-known technique to help you take control of it. We can't deal with what we can't name, right? That's why you turn on the TV and you see all these hypnotic commercials for pharmaceuticals. They're giving names to everything because they want to give a drug for it. You know, they have irritable bowel syndrome B or C or D, who knows, right? Well, you need this medication. So I don't like those kinds of labels, obviously, but you can give, and I didn't say label, I meant name, but you can give the name to the anxiety and say, go away, get lost. I haven't got time for you right now. Another technique. Is this helpful? Good. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes if you would. I'm just going to count from 5 down to 1. But I'm going to add to what we did before. So as I count 5, I'd like you to just relax your whole body, just like that. And as you're aware of that relaxation, 4, I want you to imagine that you have the ability to just gather up that anxiety and stress and tension, whatever it is you came to this meeting with. Any stress, tension, anxiety, gather it up. You get it in your arms. You go, oh, now what do I do with it all? Well, pretend that there's a rowboat tied to a dock along a river. You can put all that anxiety in the rowboat, untie it, push it out, and let the stream carry it away. Gone. Around the bend, you don't even care if a waterfall is around the bend. It's gone from your mind. Or maybe, perhaps, there's a hot air balloon sitting beside you, tied to the ground. And you just gather up this armful of tension, stress, and anxiety, put it in that basket, and then untie the rope. Because you're consciously deciding right then and there, it's time for it to just drift away. And as it does, 3, you're allowing your mind to shift to a calmer, peaceful, more tranquil place. Deep inside of you, 2. Telling Larry or whoever you named it, hey Larry, I'm relaxed, you're gone, come back another day, maybe. And 1, feeling good inside that you've taken back control in the moment. In the present moment, you're in control and you are calm, you are relaxed, and you are in control of your emotions, your thoughts, and your behaviors. And when you're ready, allow your eyes to open. Doesn't that feel good? None of these things I've been talking about are hard to do. We're just not taught. And we can use the power of our imagination, the power of the words we choose to use with ourselves. Sometimes negative self-talk gets in the way. We have these beliefs from our past that are holding us back because the beliefs are saying things to us that prevent us from having the courage to move forward. I worked with an executive, my office is in Holden, Mass. I worked with an executive that was the chief marketing officer of a 300-employee company. And I helped him with his fear of speaking and the things that we addressed. And he said, "There's one more thing I'm embarrassed to tell you." I said, "Well, what is it?" And when he told me, I knew it was a common issue. He goes, "I don't think I'm good enough to be in this position as the chief marketing officer for this company." And he deserved to be there. He deserved every dollar of his salary, and he worked hard. And he was very smart and accomplished. Well, he was in his mid-50s, and his father, who was in his 80s, still called him up every week and said, "You're a phony. Haven't they figured out that you're no good?" Nice father. So I helped him delete that negative imprint, that self-limiting belief. And a couple weeks later, he called me up and he says, "I got some great news for you." I said, "What's that?" It was a privately held company, and the CEO and his wife, the founders of the company, approached him and said, "Mark, we are happy to tell you that we are enjoying seeing a change in you that we can't quite grasp, but we've been waiting for." And they invited him to be the CEO of the company. All after spending just 2 hours in my office working on these things. It completely changed his life. So on top of all that we've been discussing, self-limiting beliefs can actually get in the way, can cause stress, because we know that they're holding us back from being who we want to be, or who we are, right? This is about journeying inward to connect with who we are, our authentic self. And people who are connected with themselves authentically sleep better because they know who they are. About 80% of the clients that I work with are women, about 20% are guys. Most guys are afraid of this kind of stuff. They don't even want to admit they have emotions, let alone work on them. We're a different breed, right? Where was I going with that? Oh, this woman that came in to see me, she was a two-time cancer survivor, double mastectomy patient. And she came in and she said, "I'm here because I don't like my body. Every time I look in the mirror, I see a funhouse clown." So she had a very low body self-image. We resolved that. It took 4 or 5 sessions working together, but I helped her make that shift and connect with herself authentically. She lost the funhouse mirror analogy, that metaphor. She lost it completely. And she came in after a few sessions and she said, "I've got some great news." I said, "What's that?" She goes, "I'm in a new relationship." I said, "That's wonderful." She goes, "I'm in a relationship with myself. I'm taking a 2-year sabbatical from men." And I'm in a relationship, I'm focused on me. And you know what? She became she was already amazing, she just was disconnected from it. But that side of her just stepped forward, and I actually trained her, and she's a certified hypnotist now, helping other people. Really amazing stuff. all by helping people see themselves differently and prioritize, make good decisions. And she said, she told all her friends, I'm in a new relationship. And they were all going, oh, great, who is he?
Uh-huh.
And she would say, no, it's me. And I tell all my clients that story when I can, especially women, because there's a lot of pressure that is different. A lot of women will say, well, guys know how to relax naturally. We don't. We can't. We're multitaskers. Everything's on our shoulders. One client came in, she said, I want to relax like my husband. I said, well, what's that? She's in my chair in my office, and she just kind of spreads out. She's got one foot up on the armrest, and she's got I said, are you exaggerating? She goes, no. She said, I want you to hypnotize me to sit like this. And she did, and her husband goes, what are you doing? Funny stuff, but I just want to see if there's anything else we can cover. Yeah, one more anti-anxiety thing we'll do. And then we'll say goodnight, all right? But I'll hang around if you have questions. In Tai Chi, what is Chi? It's our energy, right? So think about within you, there's this ball of energy. Just use your imagination, as I explained. And what I'd like you to do is take a nice relaxing breath. Keep your eyes open. Sorry for the cough, it's just uncontrollable sometimes. And I'd like you to take that ball of energy right out of your body and put it in front of you. Put your hands out like this with that ball of energy. You don't have to hold it up to the camera if you don't want to, but just in front of you. And I want you to look at it. Don't look at the camera, but look at this ball of energy and kind of rotate it, look at it, spin it, move it slowly. Kind of just get familiar with this ball of energy, what it looks like, what it feels like. Is it warm? And I want you to do this with it. Expand it a little bit and bring it back together. I never thought I'd be doing this kind of work 10 years ago, if you told me I'd be doing this tonight. Expand that imaginary energy that you've pulled out of your body and pull it back together and make a nice ball out of it again. And now I want you to look at the camera for a second and just kind of spin it. Imagine spinning that, and now look back at it. Stay focused on this ball of energy, your chi. Spin it, getting familiar with it. And as you're spinning it slowly, you're seeing these little things attached to it that you can't quite figure out. So let's get rid of them. I want you to spin it fast. Imagine spin, 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 spin. And as you're spinning, all those things go flying off your chi. Spin, spin, spin till they're all gone. Spin, spin, spin. And then bang, put it right back in your heart. So you've just cleaned your chi. As silly as that sounds, that works. And if you were feeling any anxiety and Larry didn't get the message and the boat or the balloon didn't carry it away, you can try this. For the anti-anxiety hug didn't do it. So what I've been helping you do here tonight is build a little toolkit that you can access and use and have some fun with, because this is all easy to learn and easy to share, which I hope you'll do. And when you go to sleep tonight, I want you to relax before you get into bed. And when you get into bed, I want you to relax physically, get yourself still, because you can do that. And then once you're relaxed physically, take a deep breath and say, I am sleeping now. Try to do that 10 times. You won't get to 10. Nice deep breath in between, and you'll be asleep. If you wake up in the middle of the night for any reason, when you hop back into bed, let's say you're using the bathroom, or you just wake up, close your eyes, get still, and say, I am sleeping now. And your subconscious mind works in the present tense and helps you do just that. I'll be sending links to the recordings for the 2 sessions, and I'll include a couple of documents that you can use as well. All right?
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
So have a nice Christmas,
Thank you.
everyone. Enjoy the snowstorm. Before we wrap up, before I say goodbye, are there any questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Oh, so to me, this seems like mind over matter, or some subconscious over conscious, light hypnosis, self-hypnosis. In your practice, I'm surmising that you delve more deeply?
We do, depending on the work we're doing. We don't have to go to a comatose state of hypnosis for the work we do in a clinical hypnotherapy setting. If I was pulling your tooth or doing surgery, I'd probably put you pretty deep, but I don't have the tools for that stuff anyway. I'd probably send you to a dentist or a doctor. I'm not certified to do surgery yet.
So truly, this is practice, practice, practice.
It
The
is
tools that you-
absolutely.
Okay.
It is absolutely. It's mind and body conditioning. I was explaining last night, someone that wakes up at 2 in the morning and turns on the TV in their bedroom should unplug the TV and take it downstairs.
Right.
But that was a little side commentary. But they're conditioning themselves to watch that TV program. I was explaining I had a client that would wake up at 3.
Right.
And he didn't know why in the beginning, but we figured it out. He conditioned himself to watch Cannon. He loved Cannon. He was waking up a few times. I'll turn the TV on. He found Cannon. He liked the show when it was on earlier in the 70s, or whenever it was on. And he got in the habit. And that habit became an automatic conditioning, and his body would wake him up. And he'd watch it. And I finally said, do you have a DVR? Problem solved. But we condition ourselves to do certain things that become automatic habits, which is what our subconscious mind helps us do. Offloads us. It thinks that, let me help you do what you're trying to do. And then it becomes a habit, and we have to intervene. It's called a pattern interrupt, being able to kind of go in there and change some things around so that things are going the way you want them to go.
Thank you.
Yep. Michael, did you have a question?
Thank you, Bob. I just wanted to thank you for the work that you've done here. It's a good bunch of reminders. It gets me back to thinking of earlier practice that I had with Qigong, as well as several sessions with doing the same practice as John Kabat-Zinn. So it all falls together with that. But I also share some Irish heritage with you, so that resonated with me. But I was wondering if you are familiar with the term Irish Alzheimer's.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where you forget everything except the grudges.
That's exactly right.
So yeah, when you mentioned that grudges and then your Irish heritage, I didn't think you'd be insulted if I remembered that. So
I'm actually halfway through my process of applying for Irish citizenship.
No kidding. Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, if you had grandparents that came or lived over there, you are eligible.
Good to know.
Maureen, do you have a question?
Thanks so much.
Okay, so I'll be sending you an email. I'll be adding you to my email list. If the organization you work for wants somebody to come in, I'd love to. Maybe even do a class over Zoom for the whole group.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
That I thank you so much for this. One the one element that I'm going to take away is getting rid of the thoughts when your mind is racing. Because
Yeah.
I usually have no trouble sleeping. I fall right asleep. Now, I don't know if it's because the thoughts that are waking me up, and I've taken transcendental meditation years ago. So I do the Om thing, and I
Yeah.
know how to meditate, and I visualize that sun or moon between my eyebrows. But the problem is, when I don't know if I'm waking up because of the thoughts or if my husband's CPAC machine, it leaks like halfway through the night. It sounds like a tire that's like, psh. So I don't know if I'm
Well,
waking up because of
it sounds
that.
like he might need a new one anyway.
I know, it's horrible. So, so I don't know if that's waking me up and then I'm awake. And that's the hardest thing, is getting back to sleep once I'm awake. So
So
I'm
you
going
want
to,
to know how to hypnotize him real quick to get that addressed?
yeah,
All right. Is he nearby?
no,
Okay, good.
I closed the door.
Okay, good. Good. Shh. Does he know it's keeping you awake?
He knows that, yes, and he tries his best, but he's
No,
sleeping
I don't
and
want
he
to hear
doesn't know.
try. Try. There's no such thing as trying your best. You either do or you don't.
Right.
So one phrase you can use is this. What's his first name?
Wes.
Do you call him Wes?
Mhm.
Right after he wakes up in the morning, are you awake when he wakes up?
No, I get up before he gets up.
That's what I meant.
Oh, yeah.
So when he gets up, within 5 minutes of him waking up,
Hmm.
just say, hey, Wes, this comes from a place of love and compassion, right? That's the opener.
Right.
It's time for you to take my request seriously and replace or repair that machine.
Mm.
And then you walk away, right? You've set it up in a
Good
loving
idea.
way. You've
Mhm.
taken down any resistance. You're not arguing. Hey, Wes, this comes from a place of love and compassion. And not I hope or I wish, but it's time for you to take my request seriously. Let's get this thing fixed.
Mm.
And then you walk away. Let him think about it for a day or two or a week and say, you know what? It's time, Wes. And he'll
Thank
do
you.
it.
I'll try that. Thank you.
Don't try it, do it.
No, I'm going to do it.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right. That works, by the way.
Hmm.
Thank you. Have a nice Christmas. Enjoy the storm. And let Marcy know how this went.
Yes.
We will.
Great. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.